Hi everyone, this is Roxanne with System One, and today we have a pretty big treat for you guys. We are going to be talking with 5 lovely people from Joulé, which is our life sciences division, and we're going to be talking about their efforts and the impact that they've had in the development of a COVID-19 vaccine. So for those unfamiliar with Joulé, can you give us a 30,000-foot overview of what you guys do?
Absolutely. We are a clinical and life science workforce solutions organization. And what we live in the clinical and scientific recruiting space, right? I'd say 85% of our business is what we call pure staff augmentation, which is direct hire, contract, and contract to hire. We have 4 pillars, and that is our lead pillar. But the other 3 ones are very strong. It's our consulting group, it's our consulting group, it's our equipment services group, and then we also have a managed services group that we rely on. So we have 4 pillars, and we live in those lanes. And it's something that makes us successful, we think, is that we really focus on what we're doing at that time, and being aware of the bigger picture of clinical and life science organizations.
Very cool. I'm actually curious about the equipment services because I've done so many, all the skill marketing emails. I'm the one that does that. So I'm just curious how big of a part of the business that is.
So they're a key part of the business. Most of their business is in the Philadelphia and New Jersey area, and they do testing, validation of basically any sort of lab equipment. So like a Johnson & Johnson, a Catalent, we have technicians on site, and it's really a great piece of our business. The way we try to position ourselves is to be able to go into any sort of pharmaceutical, development or company, and go in there and say, listen, we can service you in these 4 key ways. And that really separates us from the competition, the ability to come in there and be embedded. But yet the key thing is that each pillar, is focused on that pillar, right? Like laser focused on delivery of whatever that initiative is.
So I heard through the grapevine that Joulé has sourced a good 150 scientists and manufacturing personnel to support vaccine development over the last few months. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. So one of our clients is developing a proprietary technology and also harnessing platforms from top companies in the life sciences to quickly develop a safe and effective vaccine for COVID-19.
I would say the Edison branch in particular, a big focus of what we've been working on COVID related has been these manufacturing roles where it's a client that's making a product to help in treating COVID, or companies that are making diagnostic test kits to get those test kits out the door to these testing centers. So, we've really seen a big influx of those jobs come through our branch. And, that's kind of another thing that we've worked these types of jobs before, but the volumes of the roles that have been coming in, it just really helped us look at what's our process and what can we do differently to make sure we're staying ahead of this and support our clients and employees the best way we can.
Can you tell us a little bit about what kinds of scientists they're looking for? Is it for clinical trials, for research, QA, just the actual development?
Yeah, sure. So they're doing a myriad of things. So we have scientists who are developing and validating processes to rapidly scale up manufacturing and distribution of vaccines. Then we're also really deeply entrenched within a lot of their quality organizations. So in both QA and QC, we're ensuring that the work that's being done is reliable, replicable, and compliant with FDA guidelines.
Wow, awesome.
Oh, and also we're hands-on in labs, actually growing the cell lines needed to manufacture vaccines. So we're working in their upstream processing groups to help grow the cells, and their downstream processing groups helping to purify and refine to get exactly the therapeutics they need.
Primarily, I did a lot of the manufacturing. Like, we work with a company, I think, that makes cough syrup for people who are going through, unfortunately, the disease. So I've been sourcing those type of operators and technicians and things like that.
What kind of background are you looking for when you're hiring for them?
They have, for this specific company, we're looking for people who have like compounding experience, tablet pressing, blending, granulation of products, actually manufacturing those type of products, tablet press and things like that.
Okay. In terms of education for the manufacturing side of it, what are they looking for? High school?
Just high school diploma,
High school,
and
okay.
they would love some exposure to it, but a high school diploma mainly.
I've actually been a little bit more on the clinical side myself. I've seen an uptick recently, which I'm excited about, in clinical trials that we're involved in that are either a treatment or a potential vaccine for COVID. So even though, I'm not the one administering the vaccine, I'm not on site, I still get to play a role in, a small role in trying to get our country back to normal and the world, by making some progress in the fight against COVID. So we've definitely seen an increase in clinical trials. We've also seen a lot of process development roles, because we're seeing a lot of clients pivot. If they were doing something, maybe they were working on oncology, or maybe they were working even better if they were on infectious disease. They're just kind of pivoting toward how they can help in the fight to find, like I said, a treatment or a vaccine. So we've seen some diagnostic companies move from their, normal offering of testing to trying to develop a COVID test. We've seen some med device companies try to figure out, what they can do to help in the effort. So it's been really interesting to see our clients get creative for how they can, pivot to be helpful during this time.
So when you're looking for the candidates to fill these roles, what kind of backgrounds are you looking for?
Of course, we're looking for scientists and engineers that have really specific operational and tactical skills. So examples of that would be process validation, protein purification, mammalian cell culture. But we're also looking for people who have these really strategic, critical thinking skills that will allow them to thrive in an environment where there's a lot of rapidly changing things and conflicting priorities and stuff like that.
Okay, very cool. And in terms of education, I'm assuming these are PhD, master's type roles?
Yeah, so it really varies. Some candidates are recent graduates with biology degrees. Other people have PhDs in, biochemistry, molecular biology. We're seeing the whole spectrum of academic backgrounds and experience levels.
Part of working with Joulé, why do you think the culture is so key to what you guys are doing right now and how you're performing?
I think we're my branch in Edison, we're a tight-knit group, and our communication is fantastic. The team members, like, I can literally, even though we're far away, sometimes we call each other just to say, hey, if we want to talk, not just via email. We text each other. It still feels like, even though we're not in the office, like, when we have our morning meeting, it's like we're all there together. I think that's really what helps our culture. Like, we are a really great team, and I love those guys. Like, it's awesome. I honestly can't wait to see them. I mean, I know when it's definitely should wait till it's safe and everything, but we're a very good tight-knit group. And I think that since we are a tight-knit group, we're able to help each other when it's needed. If I can't figure out like a search or something, I can definitely rely on my team members to help me out.
I would say within Joulé, what I would boast about for our culture is the communication. It was very tight before, because we were in the office and we would just kind of like, shout over the little separators. But since we can't do that now, we have multiple phone calls a day with each other. We're constantly on the phone. We're communicating through video in the mornings and sometimes even in the afternoon as a quick catch up. So I think as far as culture for us, the number one has been communication and over communication, just so that between us internally, and then that way we have as much information as possible to share with our client. And we're also encouraging them to over communicate because everything's changing so quickly, so we can get that information, back internally in Joulé and then out to our candidates as well.